Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and we're going to go delving deep into the whole China case collapse file. Because now Richard Hermer, Lord Hermer, has appeared before the joint National Security Strategy Committee, or the Joint Committee on National Security, whether it's a complex name, it doesn't matter. But he's been there, and he's been trying to defend the CPS and make sure that nobody is to blame, and certainly not him. But a wonderful little piece has been put together. This is from Guido Fawkes, so well done to them. They've actually put this up, but I think it's a bit of a deep dive, but I think it's worth it. It's not particularly long, but I think it's worth just going over this, because it shows where they're blaming everybody and why half the time this blame is completely BS and is exposed. And so what they've done is they've sort of looked at this and said, right, who can we blame? Well, first of all, of course, the Tories. Never going to blame Labour, are they? So they blame the Tories. And he said it was the last government's fault. They said on the 15th of October this year, the Deputy National Security Advisor, it was his failure to describe China as an enemy was based on the case that was charged under the last government. And according to the evidence submitted under that government, he said, and they set out their governmental position, and that was where they said it wasn't, China wasn't an enemy under the original charge. Oh dear, because on the 24th of October, a week later, the DPP said the test was therefore positively not what was the then government was prepared for. It was now about what China was, rather than what anyone perceived China to be. And since MI5 and others had said it was an enemy, you have to ask why the current government refused to accept that. And they then said that, we weren't told this. And then MI5 said, yes, you were, we've got the memos. Bugger that, isn't it? And then he tried blaming the CPS, of which he used to be the head. Labour said that the decision to drop the charges was entirely the point of the decision made by the CPS. And Hermer claimed this a couple of weeks ago. And then the CPS told him on the 23rd of October not to inform ministers about the case's impending collapse. That's what he said. However, this was then countered by the Director of Public Prosecutions himself, who on the same day said, I met with the Cabinet Secretary and likewise informed him of the decision and the reasons for it. And it was agreed that he might inform a limited group, including ministers. And they're saying, wasn't us, wasn't the ministers, we didn't know anything about it. And then you got the DPP saying, yes, we had the conversation. That's lie number 2, isn't it? Then, of course, poor decision making, because they thought, well, who can we shift this onto if it's not me? And so they thought the Deputy National Security Advisor, that's where we'll go. And even Badenoch said about this that the DNSA had anything to do with the collapse, and Stamer said yes, and let me explain why. But then the DPP said the CPS and the Cabinet Office Civil Servant in July had done this. They had the initial discussion, and this is before the deputy had even been appointed. Lie number 3. And then they talked about previous evidence submissions, again back when Rishi was Prime Minister. And Stamer said that the final statement in the case was submitted in August 2025, just after we took over the role, but based on all the stuff that had been put together previously. But this was again countered by the DPP. And they confirmed that the CPS met with the Deputy National Security Advisor to see if any more evidence could be submitted. They had evidence, they wanted to submit it, but he said no. Again, another lie. They keep covering everything up and blaming people and saying things that are happening, and then these people are coming back and saying lies. And then they said, well, of course, it's all the fault of the Official Secrets Act. Good God, this is why they're prosecuting them for breaching the Official Secrets Act, but now apparently hey, Hermer was at the meeting at this joint committee and was saying that one of the biggest problems they had was that the Official Secrets Act was no longer fit for purpose. Well, it's been fit for purpose since World War One. Why all of a sudden not now? You can't blame an act of Parliament for the failure of a court case when that case is actually hinging on that particular act of Parliament, the Official Secrets Act. And of course, he keeps defending these things. He keeps pushing the lines, and it's all bollocks. There's only one person to blame, and that's the Prime Minister. But he's weak. He's a weak man, over-promoted into a position, surrounding himself by idiots, morons, and other weak men, all guided by some sense of evil. They are all traitors themselves. They're all being controlled by the Communist Party of China. They're all lying, distracting, looking away, trying to refocus your attention elsewhere, while they're going ahead and doing some pretty heinous things. And then when they get caught, they try to blame everyone but themselves and smother themselves in so many lies that, it just looks terrible. And now you've got these two Chinese spies, or two spies for the Chinese government, walking free when they should have been prosecuted simply because Stamer and his little bum chummeries don't actually want to annoy their communist paymasters because, hey, it'll make them look bad when the New World Order comes in and the new superpower of the East takes over Britain formally, which will be about 2 days after they get the final planning permission and build their super embassy right above the communications hub, so they'll know what everything's going on. The same communications hub that carries everything into Whitehall. Odd, innit, that they are so desperate for this to happen. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.